Hello again, this is part of the Fightstorepro video series where we're trying to show the products that we sell on Fightstorepro, and today's subject is MMA Sparring Gloves. This isn't a product that I'm actually that familiar with, so I've brought my friend and long-term training partner along, Pete Irving. Some of you might know Pete from his previous fights, along with a very famous Alex Reid entrance when he was refereeing. Do you remember that one?
Alex Reid ref my first pro fight.
Yeah, when he came in and told everybody about all these fights whilst Jeremy Horn was sat right behind him. Remember? But anyway, I've brought my friend along, Pete Irving, who knows a whole lot more about MMA sparring gloves than I do. When we were doing MMA sparring back in the day, we tended to use 4-ounce gloves and just hope nobody got knocked out.
Oh, well, trying to knock each other out in 4-ounce gloves, that was the way it was done now.
It was, yeah. So we're going to review and compare 4 gloves. In recent years, there's been less MMA sparring gloves on the market, so we've actually got 2 from one brand here, but they're a radically different design. But I'm going to take you through what we've brought up today. A lot of the price points are kind of similar, but you can check those out on the website, which is www.fightstorepro.com, and I'll take you through them. No particular order. We've got the Fairtex version, which I believe is FGV15. We have got the Revgear version, which we call the classic MMA sparring glove. We've got the Hayabusa version, with all its marketing material strapped to it, which is looking like might be quite a task to get to these gloves, but we're going to give it a go. And we've got the Revgear Deluxe Pro, which is the radically different one that I aforementioned. So, which one should we pick on first, Pete?
Should we get the Hayabusas out of the way?
Let's get the Hayabusas out of the way.
It's going to take a while anyway.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to take all this packaging off. Frankly, this is Hayabusa's thing. We've got combat performance proven by science. I don't know about you, Pete, but I just kind of tend to prefer them proven by training with them, really.
Yeah.
But, so actually, yeah, I think I'm going to have to employ an old friend here. We issue these as standard as Fightstorepro. So when we eventually get through all this packaging, more proven by science, and this is Byrne, whatever that is. We also have ECTA activated carbonized bamboo lining. Peter, do you like to carbonize your bamboo lining? I'm not so sure.
Carbonized bamboo lining?
Yeah.
Okay, powerful antifungal and antimicrobial action, deodorizing, strong thermal regulating.
Right.
That seems like a bull claim. But well, the idea of it being antifungal and antimicrobial is nice. I wonder how long that lasts. I don't know. We'll have to put them to the test.
Okay. So in 60 seconds or less, let's try and sum up the usage on this Hayabusa glove.
It's got a double wrist strap, which seems like a good idea. Like, you'd think that it's going to afford extra wrist protection, but to be honest, I don't really think it really gives you that much better protection for the wrist. And then it's just a bit of a pain taking them on and off, you know, in between rounds and what have you. And then the problem with this second strap is here, there's some Velcro exposed and it's kind of sharp on the side. So you're probably going to wind up having to put a strap of tape over it anyway to stop anybody getting abrasions off of that, which is not ideal. It's got this palm thing on here because it doesn't have a thumb loop. You know, so there I'd prefer not to have anything on my palm. You know, the thumb loop, if you're using it for sparring, I'd rather have the thumb protection. You know, maybe for a fight, it's going to make it easier for you to slip your chokes under or anything like that if you're using them for amateur fights. But I'm not a big fan of this design here. Also, if you look there at the cut of the curve on the glove, there's this big overlapping loop here, which this overlapping lip, which I'm not really keen on it. The pattern's slightly misplaced, and so it's not quite on my knuckle here. It's too heavy on the front of the fist, and it's a little bit hard to close your fist. But everybody's got this different side hand, so that's just me. So I shouldn't slam it necessarily just for that. But I'm not a big fan of the fit of these.
Okay, so let's move on. Let's pick the next one out. Let's take this Revgear one. This, to me, we were going to discontinue this glove, but we decided to bring it back because it was quite popular. So the leather is 1,000% better than the Hayabusa. It obviously is leather. It's a short wrist. It's got a slightly shorter wrist than I think than the Hayabusa, and the piping seems to be pretty decent. I personally really like the quality of the inside of it, which, looking at the differences in all of them, this obviously has this antibacterial thing. Don't know really much about that. This obviously isn't making such a claim, but it seems to be pretty good quality. Other than that, again, I'm going to hand the usage over to Pete on this.
Yeah, I like the look of the lining. That looks pretty good. In terms of fit, the pattern's pretty well balanced. Any of these curved amateur gloves or sparring gloves, they've always got the disadvantage that the pattern isn't quite perfect for punching, but that's not really what the glove is for. But actually, as that curved design goes, this is one of the best ones that I've worn. The piping's pretty unobtrusive as well. Sometimes I've seen sparring gloves where these have cracked and you get like a cut hazard, you know, and then the gloves need to be disposed of before the rest of the gloves worn out. So that's a bit of a shame.
It doesn't have this lip that you were talking about with the other one.
Yeah, the fist is just in the right place. So my knuckles are covered, but it's not dropping over the edge. The thumb protection is pretty good, and it's in the right place as well. It's right on top of it. So if a hook goes astray, then I'm pretty well protected there. I'm quite a fan of the fit.
It's never going to give the protection a boxing glove is.
No,
it shouldn't be thought of like that.
No, it's not. But as the compromise goes, this is pretty damn good, and it's not too bulky on the back fist. That's the other problem with the amateur or the sparring glove, that it makes it hard to grapple in because they wind up being too bulky across the back fist. Whereas this is a pretty good balanced design. It's a good trade-off.
I think. Okay, so we've got the FGV 15 from Fairtex. To be fair, this one is probably copying this one from back in the day, but that doesn't mean to say that Revgear haven't made improvements on it. But let's ask the expert. The build quality of Fairtex is never really in question. It's always well made. The leather's good, although my main criticism of this is the leather's very stiff. It might work for some of their boxing gloves. I'm not so sure it works as well on this product, but I'm gonna refer to a better authority on this.
Well, yeah, the trade-off with the stiffer leather, it is quite stiff, but what tends to happen is you get better wear out of a stiffer glove. Once it's broken in, it tends to last a little bit longer. I mean, this was like the original amateur glove. I've never seen one before Fairtex released this. The pattern's better balanced than it used to be. They used to be a little bit awkward, but it's a little bit better balanced on the knuckle. It's still very heavy on the top. It's a little bit heavier when you compare it to that it's a little bit slightly misplaced. So it's not really on the knuckle. It's there on the front knuckle. So there's a slight overlap. It's not bad, but that lip is a little bit obtrusive on the pipe in there. So I imagine that's going to take excessive wear and tear and wear out beforehand. The thumb protection's all right. It's not quite in the right spot the way that this one was, and it doesn't offer quite as much. It's slightly off, but maybe I should go for a slightly larger one. But all in all, not a bad glove. Very similar to Revgear. That's my slight preference over this one.
Interesting. I actually thought you were going to go for the Fairtex. I really did.
Well, I'm a fan of Fairtex. I always have been, but actually, this design it's very similar, but not quite as nice to wear as this one.
Okay.